If you are choosing to stay in a relationship after you have been cheated on, you are choosing to expand. You are choosing nuance. You are choosing so much. You are choosing forgiveness. And it might take time. True, deep forgiveness may take a little bit of time. You're listening to The Madeline Moon Show, a dating and relationship podcast that will bloom open your wild expression, deepen your emotional range, and expand your capacity for mythic love. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to The Madeline Moon Show. This is your host, Madeline, and I am so excited to be doing a solo episode today because it's been a really long time since I've been by myself. And so much has transpired. You've heard from John, you've heard from James, you've heard from Jai Dev. I didn't even realize that they all have J names. And as well as my beautiful friend Jolie, who's also a J name, which is amazing. And now I've just really felt called to do a Q&A for an episode with all of you to answer some of your questions that I've been receiving on my Instagram stories. So before we go into that, I want to announce that we have a community call coming up on May 16th. If you've ever been a part of one of my free community calls that I've done, they are so full for being a free call. We've got practices. Sometimes we do somatic practices, we do Q&As, and there's always a lot of liveliness and energy. I think right now we have 800 people signed up for this free community call, and it's absolutely first come, first serve to actually attend live. So if you want to be in the live energetic field, then I will have the link in the show notes for this that you can sign up for the free community call. And the theme for this call, I'm so excited about. I really think that I'm going to do a whole official masterclass on this topic because it's been something that's been so present and alive in my life now for years. And that is the theme of becoming a kingmaker. A kingmaker. Because kings are made and so are queens. And it is through our path from being a king breaker to becoming a kingmaker that we become queens. Because any woman can really tell a man, this is where I crave for you to be in more integrity. This is where I crave for you to have more consciousness. This is where I need you to improve. Any woman can tell a man that. Any woman can tell a man how to improve and to be better and what she needs more of and all of those things. But it takes a queen to support a man to rise into higher integrity, rise into higher consciousness, grow into his kingdom. And when you begin to embark upon the path of being a kingmaker, you also start to see how many kings are in the world. It's through your eyes of being a kingmaker that more kings, if you are single, become available, are all around. And you start to realize that your pool is so much wider than you thought. Because if you are a woman that has really been in that space of scarcity around men, where all the good men, they're all taken, they're in relationship, or they haven't done enough work, they haven't done enough this, they haven't done enough that. I have come to find that it is the women who are on that path to emasculation, that men are never good enough, there's not enough good men, this kind of judgmental stance on men in comparison to you. Those are oftentimes the women that are suffering the most from the lack of good men. And they are the loneliness. And it doesn't mean that you should date anybody and everybody should have your heart, because we still want to include discernment on who you enter relationship with. But that's different from having the eyes of a kingmaker, from walking through the world as queen. And we're going to go into this more inside of our community call. So if you want to come to this, I highly recommend you save your spot now. Again, it's going to be on May 16th. If you want to come, you have to come seated, grounded with your camera on. We're treating this just like any other live class, in any live program that I am hosting. So you'll come, you'll be present, grounded, and really ready to go deep into this practice of being a kingmaker. So today we're going to do a Q&A. I'm going to answer some questions. These are going to be about love and relationship and dharma and creativity in our partnerships. And, just basically beautiful questions on how do I know if and when do I ... and things like that. So the first question, I really love this one. So I'm going to start with this because I resonate, I relate, I can speak from experience. And I imagine that a lot of devotional women who are listening to this episode can relate to this. It's common. Question is, remember, this is a question box on Instagram stories, so they have to be really abbreviated. So if I sound like a robot, that's why. Moved into his house 2 months ago. When we're both at home, I often get stuck. All focus is on him, even if we're in different rooms. Forget what I want to do. Fear of being seen. How to navigate. Create own space time. Really excellent job at condensing your question into fit in that Instagram question box. So basically, question is, we just moved in, and now all of a sudden I'm forgetting myself. I am forgetting what I want to do. I'm forgetting my practice. I'm forgetting my rituals. I am, in a way, losing myself, losing my sense of self. Here's the good news about this. It's one of the, in one perspective, most natural forms of polarity. I call this your orientation. So your body starts to orient towards your partner, your body as a feminine being, as a woman. I'll just say that way, as a woman, you start to orient towards your man's stature, your man's dharma, your man's providership, provision, protection. It's an ancient, in your bones form of, polarity, but I'd rather call it primal love. It's the animal body. Okay, so we have the higher spirit, conscious body, the one who's aware you're aware, the one who feels very wide and can see into the future and the past to make decisions about the now. I would consider that more of your spiritual body. But then we have the animal body. Okay? And the animal body is like, let's fuck. Animal body is like, I want you. Animal body is like, I'm afraid of you. Slam the door. Animal body is like, you're the man. You will protect. So I think in one romantic sense is that's beautiful. And in a world where we are taught to be really one or the other, either we're taught to fully rely on a man or we're taught to be completely self-reliant, it's beautiful to practice the art of both. So firsthand, I just want to say that it is beautiful that you have it within your heart, this level of purity of devotion. Can we just be okay with that for a moment? Can we just be okay that there is a piece of you, a part of you that is in touch with something very ancient and something very old? And what an honor it is for your partner to be that man that your body is orienting towards. Now, on the other hand, where this can become sticky is the obvious is that your compass begins to become him. So what happens when he's confused? What happens when he's dysregulated? What happens when he's in a place of I don't know? What happens when he acts in a way that you don't like? That's when your compass starts to get wonky because your compass is through him rather than your compass. I encourage you, if you are watching the YouTube version of this, you can see my hand. If you're just listening, I'm like slicing my hand through. It's like bringing it down, sharp blade. What is your compass? Feeling your compass, pounding your chest. Where are you? Over time, if you don't take this seriously, take the practice seriously of feeling where your body ends and feeling where his begins, and your relationship goes through really bumpy patches, it will be worse. just going to say that. It will be worse. It will be much harder on you. And I will say it will be harder on you than it will be on him. Not that this is a competition, but it will be harder on you because he hasn't outsourced his knowing and his compass. So if he is in a confusing time, it's really just one layer of him to be back to him. Whereas for you, if you haven't been in a ritualized practice of coming back to yourself, you've got to go through several layers. You've got to go through the layer of him to get to the layer of you. And all sorts of, it can be a labyrinth just getting back into that place. So I'm speaking this now because I really want this to be important to all of you who struggle with this. So when you enter partnership and you notice that your highest excitement starts to shift from creation, creating your business, creating money, into partnership, or from your dreams into devotion, allow that transition. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? There's like the moment when, you're single and you're living it up and you're like, okay, I'm making money and I have a business and I'm loving myself and I'm like really on my feet and feeling really good. And all of a sudden you meet someone, you're like, all that creative life force that was going into your work in the world starts to go into love and devotion. Allow that transition to happen. And once you start to get settled into that place, create a harmony. You create a harmony through ritualized practice with yourself. So that's number one. What does that look like? That looks like you waking up in the morning and immediately going into your sacred space. Maybe there is an exchange of a kiss, a good morning hug, a little list of gratitudes. But then before you start trading and exchanging energy, other than like maybe delicious morning sex, because I typically will put that first. Besides that, go into a private space where you have your own sacred objects out. You have maybe a fuzzy rug or a sheepskin, candles, and go into your practice, whatever that may be. That might be breathwork, kundalini. That could be nonlinear embodiment movement. It could be dance. It could be shaking a rattle or drumming, partaking in microdoses. It could be playing just like listing all my things, playing your harmonium, making up songs. Like these are some of the things that I do in my morning routine. I switch around. Or it could also be going into your sacred space, another one of my favorites, and lighting a candle and journaling. Just simple, beautiful journaling. But first thing is going into a state of prayer and offering. So that's why I really love to incorporate singing, chanting. I'm offering to God. I'm offering to Goddess, good morning. Thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for life. Offering, offering, offering. So you're getting back in touch with your offering, you offering, and then receiving. So then journaling. So then writing down, what are you receiving after your offering? Writing down any insights, writing out your desires for the day, your gratitude, your goals for the day, just creating a connection between you. I have noticed that when I stop to do this as a non-negotiable practice, I will get into a habit of waking up, checking my phone, getting in conversation, and all of a sudden starting to a bit lose my compass first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning, if it's not touching base with me and God, and it's instead attuning to somebody else's day. What are you doing today? Oh, that's how were your dreams last night? What's your goal for today? How do you feel? So as a devotional being, as a woman in relationship with a man, like that's easy. For a lot of women, not everybody, but for a lot of women, it's very easy to wake up and first things first, how are you? What do you need support with today? These are beautiful questions. And it's that very simple analogy that everybody uses about like putting on your mask first if an airplane is in crisis mode. You losing your compass is a mini tiny crisis mode. So the way that you can start to put on your mask is your practice, your daily ritualized practice, and communicate this with your partner. Let them know, honey, I love you so much. And I'm noticing that I'm really needing to touch base with my own heart every single morning. So I'm going to start going into my room first thing after a kiss and a hug. And then I'll come back out after an hour or however long that you need. And if you have children, how can you set this up so that you get some time to yourself? We're only a lot of times a request and a small strategy session away from having the very thing we want. It just takes you asking for it and then taking action. So maybe you need to get someone to come over every morning to walk the dogs. Like, they kind of become part of your family because they're in and out of your house, and you just let them take the dogs. Or a nanny that comes in and has the baby for a little bit of time in the morning. So that's one way. And then also, how can you begin to touch base with yourself when you feel confused and lost? How do you begin to tap in to what you need when you are in a period of I don't know, before looking to your partner, even though they probably have sound and amazing insight and wisdom and advice? It's really important that you start to go to yourself and you ask yourself, what am I feeling? What is my knowing? And then journal, and then write about it, record it, sit with that, let it marinate. And then there's also the energetic, because I know for myself that I have gone through like, it's not even like a conscious, I'm orienting towards my partner, but it's just that there's almost like there's this film, this layer that is between me and what I want to do with the day, or me and just clarity. It's like this weird film, and it's the film of getting in my own way, or it's the film of thinking about my partner's needs before my own. So this requires a little bit more of energetic protection. So learning how to, when you wake up and you do your morning practice and your ritual, creating somewhat of this energetic bubble where you're like, this is me. That is you. Feel it, give it a color, give it a tone. Maybe it has a particular fragrance, but really feel the sacred space that is you, feeling your body, feeling your heart, touching base with yourself. And then it's absolutely not a shield. It's like you are coating yourself with a sacred cloak of you. And inside of that cloak, you are circulating your own life force, your own knowing, your own desires, and as if you are a magi, making that cloak impenetrable, making it impenetrable so that none of your energy is leaking out and you're losing yourself, and energy that's not yours isn't getting enmeshed with you. It's protecting you for you so that you don't have to protect yourself so hardly, like so hard. So that you don't have to protect yourself so hard and work so hard to, okay, I got to make sure that I don't get lost and that I don't orient. Like, that's so much strain and stress. So there's a much simpler way, and that's by being a magi and making it your responsibility to each day put on your sacred cloak of protection, make a prayer, do your offering, feel your insights, and then do the hard thing of ensuring that you continue to live your life, ensuring that you make plans with your friends, that you reach out to your friends, that you leave the house, that you go to the coffee shop and you work like you did when you were single. I've worked with so many women who, in our time together, would say something like, I miss who I was when I was single because I did all these fun things. It's like, what's stopping you from doing all these fun things? And it's normally some, I love y'all, but bullshit reason why. It's like, what will he think? Or what if he feels excluded? He's fine. He's fine. You're not fine. You need to be fine. Take care of yourself. Go have some fun. Go out with your friends and love your partner as you do so. Because when you love, this is the thing. When you love yourself in these ways, you are loving your partner. You are loving them. Full stop. When you are contributing to yourself, when you are making sure that your cup is full, you are liberating them from it being their job to fill your cup. You are liberating them from them having to be your compass. When you do work on yourself in this way, you are setting your relationship up for success in hard times and in high times, because in those hard times, he's also going to look to you, and you want to make sure that you have a connection with yourself that you can rely on when it's needed. Okay, next question. Forgiveness after betrayal. when you know it's worth it and right without villain-victim dynamic. Whew, this one's really, really good. Forgiveness after betrayal, when you know it's worth it and right without villain-victim dynamic. So talk about holding two things at once. What I want to tell you first is that the skill of holding two truths at once is one that every single person could use a little bit more masterminding in, a little more master classes in, the art of the nuance. And this is something that's become very near and dear to my heart in the last several years, and it's a current ongoing experience of how do I hold two things as true without feeling like I need to, go into a state of like I was wronged or I was or he did this to me. How can you really hold your own pain around something at the same time that you hold responsibility? You can hold, on one hand, I feel betrayed. I feel pain. I feel heartache. I feel wronged. I feel sad. I feel grief. I feel anger. And at the same time, hold, and I'm choosing to stay. And I'm choosing to reflect on my part in this. And I'm choosing to look at where, if applicable, I did not make our relationship a safe space for concerns to be brought up before there was cheating, if that's applicable. Where can I be responsible for the ways that I have also leaked energy? Where can I be responsible for the ways that I did not, and this is a big one, the ways that I did not love my man in the ways that he needed? So, this is a hard question for a lot of people to really sit with, because one is not saying that you earned getting cheated on. No one is saying that you deserve it. No one is saying it's your fault. No one is saying it's your responsibility. You are not. If you are the one that was cheated on, you are not responsible for the actions of your partner. And this is where nuance comes in such a profound way that most people skip over it, because it's way easier to just be, I'm a victim. You did this to me. I'm a victim. I've been perpetrated. You're the perpetrator. You oppressed me. It's so much easier to go into that place and that role and that dynamic, because everything just fits nice and neat and you don't have to look at your own stuff. Way easier to do that. Very little love in that kind of approach. Very little love for yourself. Very little tenderness for the whole experience. Very little love for them. And it's easier. And I really feel so much tenderness in my heart for people who are in that experience, even in the villain and victim experience, because it's one of the ways that we try to, it's not just that it's easier, it's one of the ways that we try to rationalize something that's too painful for us to comprehend. If you can't rationalize something, then we go to these kinds of approaches that help us feel a little bit more grounded in it. Oh, this is why this happened. It's because they perpetrated me. They lied to me. They wanted to hurt me. Oh, that all makes sense. If we get serious about uncovering this a little bit more, and even more importantly, if you want to milk every experience in your relationships for everything they've got, then what can you milk out of that experience? It's easy for us to say that we're in love with love and that love is our deepest spiritual practice, but this is also included. This isn't outside of that. So if there is betrayal, especially, God bless that you know it's right to keep moving forward. Remember, you are choosing that. So there is no victim when we acknowledge our choices. When we acknowledge that we're making a choice to stay in a relationship, especially, we have to say yes to everything else that comes with it. That we are not, by definition, a victim when we're choosing something. So if you are choosing to stay in a relationship after you have been cheated on, you are choosing to expand. You are choosing nuance. You are choosing so much. You are choosing forgiveness. And it might take time. True, deep forgiveness may take a little bit of time. Where you might be right now is the step of choosing not to be a victim and choosing to hold two things at once, choosing to hold your pain and also choosing to hold your responsibility. And that might be it for now. It's not immediately jumping to the place of forgiveness. And actually, I really support you slowing down around that period. Not trying to force the forgiveness, really just being with the pain. Because that pain, it's not going to go anywhere until it's ready to release from your system. You can't choose for that pain to go away. So what I recommend is creating practices with your partner for as long as you are choosing each other, where you both have spaces to reveal, share, be witnessed, be held in your individual experiences. Because if you're the one that was cheated on, you're going to have very unique betrayal wounds that are going to be alive for a period of time that needs patience for you to work through, and love and forgiveness towards yourself. Any ways that you are blaming yourself, any ways that you are making that your responsibility that they did that, being very aware of any time you get into a codependent mindset, like I need to now be a certain way so that that doesn't happen again, or he cheated on me because I'm this way. That's not the kind of responsibility that we're talking about. That, say we're, we and my ghosts, me and my ghosts, just me. I am talking about radical responsibility and reflection on the inquiry, how could I have shown up to the altar of love even more beautifully? There's no self-punishment. There's no blaming of yourself. There's no making it your fault that you were cheated on. I encourage self-forgiveness for not having known or seen it or felt it. And then also exploring the question, how was I not showing up to the altar of love? Because oftentimes, not every time, but sometimes when we're cheated on, there was something brewing and bubbling in the relationship for a while. Needs were not getting met. And for better or for worse, there wasn't good communication in the relationship about those needs. Like, the best way for couples to work through that is to say, this is what I need. Let me know if you can fulfill this. And if you can't, then we need to have a different conversation. Or I know that you can't fulfill it, and so I'm going to have to work on generating that thing myself. So for some, this is just a random example. For some men, what they may want is more energy. Just more energy, more, energy through adornments and clothing and expression and delight and a love for life, instead of just super stoic. What are we doing? Okay, great. I'm dramatizing a little bit, but they crave energy. They crave to feel energy through your body. That's really what's so attractive to someone who is on the consciousness side of a relationship. They want to feel your energy. It's exciting. It's inspiring. So if they don't feel energy going on with you, then they may go towards TV because the TV is more glowy than you are. Or they may go to a football game because that's more energetic and exciting than you are. If he is not good at communicating things, or he has his own wounds around asking for what he needs, it's really his responsibility to learn how to come to you and say, hey, baby, I'm really craving to feel you alive. What do you need to feel more alive in life? Or just flat out say, I'm really craving to feel you as more energetic. And we want to have relationships that are strong enough to be able to receive feedback like that. In kind ways, because I can almost imagine that if you had been given the opportunity to meet a need that was unspoken, you would have worked to meet that need. And perhaps there was a need that he isn't giving you, and you needed. So where you're at now, if you're deciding to continue to move forward, this is a perfect ritual for the two of you and anybody else that is experiencing this to start to implement into your relationship. Here's what I'm loving about our dynamic, and here's what I need more of. I need more of your heart. I need more cuddling time. I need more solo dates with you. For me, I'm kind of like a bottomless pit for play. I need so much play. I need lightheartedness. I need laughter. That's such a medicine for me. And so if I feel like the scale is getting tipped into too much heaviness or even depth, I need some time to fly. I need some fun. I need some play, some spontaneity, some time where we just forget all of our practices and just indulge in life. If I don't tell my partner that because I'm afraid they won't like it, or I'll piss them off, or they can't give it to me, so I feel rejected anyways, then I'm leading my partner up for failure. And that failure is going to have a heavy, heavy price, because not only am I getting more resentful, but the more my needs aren't getting met, the less nourished I'm going to feel, the less energetic I'll be to fulfill his desires. So it's a cycle. The experience that you have had of betrayal, perhaps of being cheated on, I can imagine that you both have had needs that were not fulfilled, and you both maybe didn't do the best job of communicating those needs. Now, moving forward, part of your practice is to make a ritual out of asking for what you need, and sometimes you may need to be held for 5 minutes as you grieve, and he witnesses you grieve, your loss of innocence in the partnership, your loss of innocence in the trust, and let him in on your world. And maybe there are certain things that are very tangible that you need for a while. You need him to unfollow all of his exes or certain accounts on Instagram to really feel safe and comfortable. I don't think that's a crazy request in any way for a person that you're giving another chance, and you are like, takes a lot for your sweet feminine heart to keep opening up to love in that level of the unknown. And I think it's perfectly reasonable to have specific parameters that will help you, just like when one grows a tree and that little baby seedling is inside the earth, there's a gate that goes around it. There's a gate so that it tells people, hey, there's a tree trying to grow here. Don't step on it. It protects it. So when we are rebuilding trust, we have to create some gates so that we can confidently grow again. And those can be measurable. You can measure those and you can see how you're doing and have check-ins on how are we doing around this. And again, I think the biggest piece, I'll just say this last part, the biggest piece to avoiding the villain-victim dynamic, if anyone ever wants to, is look at where you were responsible. Look where you chose this. Look where you ignored signs or ignored the times that they did say they had needs, or where you were withdrawing your heart. Yeah, sometimes we as women can withdraw our heart when we're not getting our needs met, and that can be incredibly painful for a partner to feel like there was love and then it was gone. Does not excuse them, and this is what will soothe the part of you that wants to forget all nuance, throw it all out the window, and start to involve and think with a little more nuance. Okay, here's the nuance. This is what he did. Here's also what I did. Here is where I am responsible for where we are right now. It doesn't mean you're at fault. It just means that you're a really fucking wise woman that understands that this world is made up of nuance. Okay, next question. How to stop mothering your partner. So classic, so good. Yeah, how to stop mothering your partner. So mothering is a form of reverse polarity. And it's a way that we are flipping the script in a way on who is in charge, who is the wiser one, who knows best. And it absolutely 100% reverses polarity. It reverses attraction, because the only option that your partner has to do is to refuse your mothering, leave, or submit. That's it. Those are the only options that you give him when you tell him what is best for him, what he needs to do, how he needs to grow, that he needs to go do men's work, that he needs to start reading David Data because he's not man enough, that he needs to start caring about this in a different way. So his only options are to leave the dynamic, which probably is not what you want because you love him, or submit to you, which will make you, most likely, not respect him quite as much. It's not really the thing that you are asking him to do that is the thing you want the most. Sometimes. Not always, though. Sometimes. Most of the time, it's that you want to know he is able to stand up for himself, that he is able to stand up to you, and that he is able to take action without you. So if you are making a demand on your partner, like, you need to start doing this because I know best, and he would say, okay, well, will you send me a link to sign up for, and he starts asking you questions, it's going to probably piss you off because now you're like really leading. Like, you just wanted to like nudge him into making a change, but now he's submitting to you, and feel that in your body versus, I've got it. Don't you worry. I've got it. I'm taking care of it. I know what I'm doing, and I'm creating things, but my love, I need you to give me space. That feels really trustworthy. If he's doing it with an open heart, and if he's pairing it with action. And a big piece for women to start to understand is that mothering is it's an art form of emasculation. And it can lead to your partner feeling really castrated. I find that a lot of times women will oscillate between these two roles of being mother or being daughter. So they will be in the role of mothering, telling their partner what to do, clean up after yourself, pick up your socks, and kind of nagging, and not actually learning how to just relax into the home the way it is, relax into your partnership, relax into the way that your partner does things, trusting the way your partner does things, believing in the best in your partner, or being in that daughter role. Will you save me? Will you help me? Will you mentor me? Will you show the way for me? I don't know how to do this. I need help. Feeling disempowered. Neither one of these are the role of queen. And the interesting thing is that if one wants to embrace their role as queen, as queen, a sovereign queen who does not nag, doesn't lose her center, but does expect her partner to rise and into integrity, is that you have a certain baseline already set of trust in your partner. The mother does not. If anyone here is a mother, or if anyone wants to be a mother, you love your child. I'm speaking as if I have a child. I don't have one, but this is a concept I'm familiar with. You love your child, but you don't trust your child, right? You don't trust your child because they are one and you have to take care of them. You love them, but you do not trust them. If you are mothering, you love them, but you do not trust them. And that is an inquiry I have for you of what would you need in order to trust your partner? What would you need in order to trust them? This is just an inquiry for you to start to explore. What would you need to trust them to take care of their finances better, or to take action on that website you keep thinking that they should make, or to forget even the things you want them to do, just trust them in the meta sense. What would you need in order to fully trust them with big life decisions, with you following their leadership? Not following as in obeying, but following as in trust. As in, this is a man that's headed somewhere I want to go. Originally, when you met your partner, there was probably something within them that you were deeply moved by them. This is something my beautiful friend Courtney Davis talks about. When she was single, she was talking about how the next man she wanted to be in partnership with, she wanted to feel moved by him. And I thought, wow, what a beautiful way to describe the feeling you want to feel when you meet a partner is, am I moved by them? So originally, when you met your partner, imagine that you were moved. Where did that go? Where did that go? Did he change, or did you? When we get into close quarters with someone, we can start to take liberties that really aren't respectful. And it's a way that we feel safe. If I emasculate him, then I feel safe. I will always feel more in control as if you actually need that. That's the big lie, is that emasculation is going to give you anything. Actually, all you have to do is lose from emasculation. I've been working on a program that I am so excited about, that everyone that comes to the community call is going to learn about and be able to opt in to earlier than anybody else. And I'm so excited. But one of the things that this program is really centered on is, how do you become a kingmaker? How do you become a kingmaker? The kingmaker is the opposite of the emasculator. The kingmaker is the opposite of the mother. She holds this fierce pull of belief in every man to be a king. Truly, it's not like some men are capable of being kings and others are not. The kingmaker sees the king in everyone, but she has discernment on who she gives her full heart to. And we don't have enough time in this podcast to explore if, with this question, if this potential partner is really a match for you or not. Like, if you're trying to make a prince into a king, but you have nothing to lose by imagining, by seeing your partner through the lens of queen, looking at her king. That's going to inspire him so much more than you trying to lift him up as little boy that you don't trust. So this looks like acknowledging where he is a good man right now. Not what he could do to be better, but where is he a good man right now? Praising that. And then when you're offering insight, asking for permission first. Can I give you some thoughts about what you could do in regards to this? Not, I'd like to tell you what I think you should do. You're asking permission, and then you're proposing it as an idea of something that they could do. And even underneath that moment of offering insight, you also continue to feel running through your body this trust that this man has gotten to where he is today without you, and he will continue to move forward in this world without you, without your help, your guidance, your hand-holding. He will figure it out, but you have to feel that in your body, that you trust this man to figure out his own shit. Feel your body, feel his body. Right? Unlocking, unkinking those codependency behaviors where you need to be them anyway, that other than that they are right now. And in time, life will reveal to you whether or not this person can really truly meet you in the ways that you need. If you notice that you continue to go head to head on what you want him to do and what he wants to do, then it really might be a moment to look at your compatibility. If you truly cannot release your talons on what they are going to do, it might be a compatibility issue, that you are just simply looking for a different man. You are simply looking for someone who does something that is unfair for you to ask and demand of this particular person. You might want someone who is a warrior, and you're asking an artist to be that way. And there is certainly a way to inspire an artist to become more of a warrior. You reveal your own warrioress to him. Freely, openly, you tussle with him. You become a lioness with him and see how he responds. These are more artful ways to play with the energy. It's a practice of evoking what you want from him by embodying it first. So if you want to evoke from him a warrior, you embody it first. But you're not telling him, you're not a warrior, you're an artist, and I need a warrior, and you're not being this enough and that enough, and I need you to be that way. That is really painful. In the kind of polarity or relationship world, we also do talk a lot about like acknowledging to your partner what you would need. There's a difference in the energetic. There's a difference between saying, what I would need in order for our relationship to continue is for us to be a little more wild and a little more spontaneous and a little more passionate. I'm really craving that. Can you feel the difference between offering your partner an invitation to find a new flavor of themselves versus you're not this enough, or even worse, I've got to show you how to be this way? Very rarely is that going to turn him into a king.
Alison Armstrong talks about how this is frog farming, where you take princes and you turn them into frogs. And a way that you can tell if you are frog farming is if you got in relationship with a great man and he was great at the beginning and you loved him and he changed. It's not always that he changed. It's that you started to see him differently and then began the pattern of not enoughness, of hand-holding, of reverse polarity. And now he's submitting to you and things are getting like worse and worse and worse. So again, Alison Armstrong is an incredible teacher on this. And she, in all of her courses, has women go through a process of relinquishing their right to emasculate forever, which means no more castration or disrespect or putting your partner down for not being this enough or that enough, and finding ways to honor the good man that they are, praise, acknowledge, and be grateful. And then also be honest with the things that you need and offer them an invitation to meet you there. And over time of continuing to stay in that heart-centered place of honoring and praise and sharing your requests, at the same time, you are fulfilling what it is that you need in the ways that you can. So maybe you need a little more warrior in your life. Maybe you need to go take some kind of Krav Maga class, or you need to start working with a steel mace or a sword. You need it, and perhaps you're projecting it onto him that he needs to be these ways. See the connection, just feel the link in your own life and see how is it that you're doing that. And starting to see, what is that giving you of emasculation? What is emasculation giving you that makes you feel safe? That makes you feel like as long as I'm the tough girl, or as long as I'm the ice queen, or I'm putting him down, then It's like, then you don't risk getting hurt as much. Then you don't risk falling for the guy that's gonna not be perfect. As long as I'm emasculating, that I'm not gonna totally, completely, utterly fall in love with this guy that might not be able to meet me in every single way possible. It is not the way that your heart really wants to fall in love, and it's not the way you're actually going to inspire your partner to be the king that he already is and can further step into. So if you are in the process of manifesting your king and you're interested about becoming a kingmaker, you're interested in what makes a queen, how to date, looking for your king while also stepping into queen and magnetizing those correct men, then you really, really, really want to come to my community call. I just cannot stress that enough. And thank you so much, everyone, for listening to the Madeline Moon Show. Such an honor and a treat to have you here today. Love these questions. Please keep sending them in. I'm sure I'll do another Q&A soon, and I'll see you next month for another episode.